Thank you so much, Alex. I am so honored and thrilled to be here with all of you at the Franchise Activation Conference. Two of my favorite things in life are self-employment and getting things done. And that's exactly what this groundbreaking conference is all about. It's about being bold, being strong, taking control of your own destiny, and doing what it takes to make your dreams come true. It's about pushing yourself and your brand, and as the title of the conference states, activate. I've always been attracted to self-employment, like a moth to a flame. My father was self-employed. I'm married to a serial entrepreneur. I've owned my own businesses in the past, and I've spent the past 31 and a half years helping people just like you make their dreams of owning their own businesses a reality as the Chief Development Officer with Wild Birds Unlimited. And also, like you, I'm a huge fan of the franchise model. Making the choice to join a proven system of best practices, tested success models, and joining a community of others doing the same thing in their own but different markets, whether that system is selling backyard bird feeding products or a quick service restaurant or a healthcare system, is so wise. And all of you have made that decision. Tapping into the collective knowledge of a community of others who are traveling down the same path with the same core values and mission makes that journey so much easier, and the roadmap to success is so much clearer. But you still have to do the hard work. You still have to act. You have to stay focused and keep your eye on the end game. And during these current times, that challenge has been even more challenging. So today, I want to talk to all of you about some wins that I have seen during these last nearly 10 months that we've been dealing with this pandemic. I'm going to share some individual wins that we've experienced at Wild Birds Unlimited, as well as a few examples of other franchise brands who are able to change course midstream. And I'm also going to share some thoughts that are a little less tactical and a little more, and just wait for it, a bird's eye view, of how brands and individual franchisees have won during these times. But I can't imagine talking about my thoughts regarding how to grab onto winning business strategies without first addressing the horrific times that we've all been experiencing. The personal losses of individual lives, business shutdowns, school shutdowns, racial unrest, an interesting and, to say the very least, challenging election cycle, and the emotional roller coasters that we've individually and collectively been experiencing cannot be ignored. I personally send out my heartfelt sympathy to those of you who experienced those losses. And while in no way do I want to diminish those earth-shattering losses, I do know my audience. And I know that if you're here listening to and participating in this conference, you're looking for a path forward. And that's what we're going to try to do together during the next couple of days. So let's talk about wins. Wins have been, to say the least, a little hard to define nowadays. For some brands like Wild Birds Unlimited, who were deemed essential and had a big demand for their products and services, the wins are defined by huge increases in market share, customer demand, and top-line sales for our franchisees. That being said, for other brands and industries, a win may be defined as just staying afloat as you try to change the way you do business to keep your doors open. And for others, just being here, not giving up, trying to figure out that path is the biggest win you can hope for. But I know franchisees, and I know that however a win is defined or manifested, you will figure it out. And if you don't, you're going to come back in a new version of yourself and your business, and knowing that is a win in itself. So one of the biggest wins that I've seen overall during these times is overall optimism. One of the key characteristics of a successful small business owner is that optimistic attitude. You all know the saying that every cloud has a silver lining. Well, I personally like to think that if you stare at that silver lining with enough focus and long enough, pretty soon all you see is silver and the darkness fades. Time and time again, when I talk to our franchise store owners who are working truly the longest hours that they'd ever worked, even more than when they first got into the business and started their stores, I would talk to them oftentimes at night during the times that they were making deliveries to their customers who had ordered bird food either online or phoned in their order to the store at 8, 9, sometimes 10 o'clock at night. Our franchisees, they were exhausted, but they were upbeat. They would talk to me about how wonderful it was to see the smiles of joy from their customers from their windows when they safely dropped off the order on the front porch. They shared stories with me about customers calling them on their cell phone from inside the house, asking them to take a quick walk around the house to the backyard to see their baby bluebirds, ask them about tips on how to enjoy the birds more. And our franchisees told me about stories, notes, and their customers trying to give them tips for the delivery, and just how much they appreciated that during those dark days they could still get their bird seed, and how much the hobby was providing them with just a focus of light and joy during the time. My point is not to talk about kudos to the Wild Birds Unlimited system. It's about the attitude of seeing that silver lining. We all could have easily gotten bogged down in the negatives about the challenge that we were all facing. And yet our franchisees and all of you were working much harder, longer hours. For us, the first couple of months, we saw a slowdown in sales. We saw the loss of employees. And that list of challenges, it could go on, but our franchisees stayed focused on that silver lining. They stayed focused on the path forward. And most importantly, they stayed positive as they could possibly be during those times. Staying positive, that may not be a win itself, but it is, in my opinion, the only way to get to the wins. Another win, accelerated adoption. Okay, I made a promise not to say the P word during our time together today, but face it, we all know that when I say accelerated adoption, I mean pivot. But we've all heard that word a lot. I'm going to stick to my guns and try not to say it more than necessary, but it truly is one of the biggest wins that I've seen or heard of in my entire professional career. We have seen more change and more adoption of new business strategies quickly in the last year than ever. New marketing platforms and message delivery systems were adopted. For Wild Birds Unlimited, we made major shifts in our messaging. One of our foundational customer acquisition and retention strategies for years had been both in and out of store community talks. Well, clearly during the pandemic, that was not going to be possible. But our franchisees and their teams kept it going, just not in person. They did Facebook Live events. They recorded events and emailed them out to their customers, and they were a huge hit. We upped our focus on digital marketing. We changed our messaging, learned better how to navigate through Google Ads, Facebook posts, and created new creative content better and faster than we had ever done in the past. We had an online platform that was slowly being implemented here at Wild Birds Unlimited, but we ended up onboarding new franchisees at about a 400% increase per month for the first couple months. And talk about accelerated adoption or pivoting. How about the financing options, the PPP loans and EDA loans? Within days of the PPP loan program being announced, but before it was even passed into a law, thousands of you got your materials together and submitted applications to get access to this much needed capital. I happened to be the one who managed it for our system. And let me tell you, it was a crazy ride. We got new rules and regulations sometimes being delivered to us daily, but most of us got it done. I know that our team bobbed and weaved faster than ever, but we got it done. And now let's hope that the government gets their act together to get another wave of these loans available to all of you who really need that second shot at getting more capital. New product development. It's another huge win. A dear friend of mine, Nancy Bigley, who's the COO of Painting with a Twist, wine and sip brand, had a nearly system-wide shutdown of their studios immediately when the pandemic hit. Well, they also immediately moved to selling their painting kits in a safe, curbside fashion to generate cash flow for their franchisees. And very soon after this happened, they migrated to virtual painting and sipping parties, along with their kits to get additional revenue stream. Working with their suppliers, they even negotiated a partnership for the vendor supplier to direct ship those kits to consumers so that the customers could create these events easier and not being limited to customers just in a specific trade area. What that did was it brought families, friends, and then they went to corporate and company events across the country together to share moments of joy during these trying times and to keep their franchisees in business. Here at Wild Birds Unlimited, we developed Share the Joy boxes for our store owners to sell online and via the phone, grouping products that help consumers attract specific birds to their yard in an easy to sell, easy to ship package that help the customers further enjoy and expand their ability to attract cool birds and wildlife to their yards. Another great example is how about all the restaurants who were completely shut down, but moved to start small farmers markets in their parking lots to fulfill the needs and demands of their customer base, use that inventory they had on hand, and provided needed income for themselves and their teams in a new, safe way. Or those that migrated 100% to drive-through and delivery models. And now we're even hearing stories of brands who are moving to pop-up restaurants. New products, new ways of delivery. And the cool thing is that these new revenue streams are becoming permanent parts of the way we do business now. Yeah, it took a bunch of fast footwork, but it worked. It's just another great example of the ingenuity of the franchise model and a win. Franchisees clearly telling their franchisors of a need, and franchisors reacting swiftly and giving their system what they need when they needed it. Another win is collaboration and communication. I mean, I get it. We're all maybe a little weary of video conferencing, but you know what? It has allowed us to stay connected, and in many cases, it's allowed us to communicate in a new and in some ways often more personal way. I myself make way less phone calls and jump on video calls with my candidates, our franchise store owners, and peers whenever possible. I used to have a saying, I would never award a franchise to a new candidate without seeing the whites of their eye. That used to be in a conference room across a table from them. Well, now that's clearly not possible, but guess what? It still happens, just in a different way. And the win is the time and the money and the effort that's saved by everyone involved. But that increase in collaboration and communication is not just about technology advancements. These times have required us to all connect more, have more clarity of message, and probably added an additional level of candor to our conversations in order to move forward effectively. And from all indications, from my franchisee and franchisor friends and peers, we have won. And this speaks very clearly to one of the great benefits of being in a franchise system. I have very close personal friends who own independent businesses, not franchises. One owns a coffee shop and the other owns a garden center. In both of these cases, they felt like they had little to no lifeline on how to pivot to curbside, how to reach their customers when they were closed. And more importantly, they felt alone. All of us here today have the comfort and knowledge of knowing that being here in the franchise space means that none of us ever have to go it alone. And that is a huge win. Well, I couldn't talk about collaboration without sharing one of my favorite stories of what happened during this pandemic. The massage franchise space, headed by my friend Shane Evans, who's the CEO of Massage Heights, proactively reached out and got together with her competitors in the franchise space. Yeah, her competitors. They all got together to work collaboratively on a level of and the definition of safety best practices for the whole franchise massage industry, including franchisees, their teams, and their customers. They work together responsibly to create a list of safety best practices to make the industry safe and sound during these times, and they shared them with all 50 state governments. Talk about a win. Franchising, I am so impressed. Well, we couldn't be attending a conference that's co-sponsored by Local Act and Google Partners without me talking about the huge marketing wins that many of us were able to realize. It became very clear very fast that we were going to have to change both the way we marketed our businesses and the messaging that we shared. So who knew that you could do a full online digital campaign so effectively, so easily, so efficiently, and so affordably? Our customers all wanted to hear from us. They wanted to support us, and they wanted a connection, just in a different way. They were home and they were online, and we met them there with the help of our strategic partners. The help that we received from Local Act and Google made such a difference in our ability to reach our customers. I can't even imagine that we would have imagined it in the past. Here at Wild Birds Unlimited, we had big wins. We found lots of actually brand new customers, and not just the customer demographic that we'd attracted in the past, but new and younger customers, customers who didn't even know that they wanted what we were selling, but they did now. They wanted bird feeding for their families. They wanted to do something in their home, and Local Act and Google helped us get there. We all learned that customers wanted education and content that we used to provide by doing in-store and in-person events. And as I mentioned, customers responded equally well to Facebook Live and pre-recorded events. We even had some of our franchise store owners who took their phones and their customers along with them on bird walks. And the beauty was you didn't have to show up at 7:30 on a Saturday morning to participate. You just watch it later in your PJs with a cup of coffee from the comfort of your own couch. It's a huge win. We all also learned very quickly that we had to provide joy in our marketing. People were tired of the gloom and doom news cycle. They wanted and needed something positive in their lives. We launched a nature-centered podcast here at Wild Birds Unlimited and had terrific response. Other well-known brands made similar commitments to sharing education, sharing wins, and sharing joy with their customer base with extremely excellent results. The strategy and implementation was in no way limited to us. It didn't matter whether you were selling bird food or pizzas or signs. Every one of us and every one of our brands knew that our customers were hungry for content. We created it and delivered it in the way that they wanted it. It was universal. And we all had to do it by changing course midstream. Fast Signs is another brand, completely changed their approach. They had a whole series of television ads ready to launch when all of this hit, and they were all done externally. They knew that they had to change it up, bring it inside, speak from the heart, and to focus on new product offerings, including signs and collateral that were very important for all of us, for our businesses as it related to COVID. They saw the need, they saw the approach that they needed to take, and they got it done, giving their system the creative tools that they needed when they needed. So we won. It took some time. It took energy to figure it all out. And it happened, but it happened so fast. I'm personally of the opinion it's going to change the way we market our services and products forever, or at least until something else happens that we have to respond to. But we have the comfort and knowledge of knowing that we can make those changes, make it happen, and make it happen fast. And that is a huge win. Another big win is we were able to meet our customers where they were. I've alluded to it a number of times already, but I think it's important to call out that one of the biggest wins that many of us realized was that ability to find out where our customers were and go there for them. We at Wild Birds Unlimited migrated to online sales and curbside pickup so quickly to make your head spin. Another great example is Bright Star Home Healthcare, led by Shelley's son and her team. One of the biggest hurdles that she and her team and franchisees had to deal with was the fact that while the customers wanted and needed in-home healthcare, they were afraid to have their caregivers come into their homes. Bright Star leapt to the challenge, and made the decision to go ahead and pay for the PPE, the personal protective equipment, for their customers so they could continue to provide that in-home healthcare in an efficient fashion and to ease the mind of their consumers. Additionally, Brightstar made that PPE equipment available to other franchise brands at no additional costs, meeting both their customers and the franchise space where they were and when they needed it. As a business model, franchisees, franchisors, and our suppliers worked together to identify what was needed during this pandemic, figure out the best way to fill those needs, and fill them in the way the customers wanted. It was another huge win. We have all experienced so many wins that we need to celebrate that we've come through some of the challenges we've already faced this year. And I know we're going to meet any new challenges that we face head on with optimism, with an ability to pivot and adopt changes quickly, develop additional products and services to meet our customers and our needs, to collaborate and communicate effectively and find those marketing wins, meeting our customers where they are. There's a quote that I love from a Greek poet named Dinos Christianopoulos. It translates from Greek into English to, "They tried to bury us. They didn't know that we were seeds." 2020 has been a bit of a bear, to say the least, but we are never going to give up. We will win. And even if those wins are not immediately realized, we will rebound and we will thrive. We are franchising. We are bold and we are strong. So once again, welcome to this amazing event, the first ever conference designed just for franchisees. I want to thank Local Act, Google Partners, and the International Franchise Association for co-producing this event. And I'm so excited to be attending the content-rich sessions that we have in store for you over the next 2 days. So thank you for attending, and remember, keep pushing yourself, keep pushing your brand, and keep activating. It's the fastest path to success and to winning. Thank you very much.